After the second step, you will lose all hope and you will want to stop the race. Do not stop this race.
So I finally had a chance to watch this, very unique race to say the least, between Noah Lyles and Speed. Yeah, you heard that right. Noah Lyles, the Olympic champion in the 100 meters, taking on Speed, the content creator, over the 50-meter distance. There were no fancy timing systems or robotic moving cameras, but rather just a live stream that showed what was going on this modest track under the lights. And it was pretty fun to watch. Now, before breaking down this race in more detail and giving my take on it, I do want to say that I hope stuff like this continues to happen in the future to help increase the exposure of track and field to a broader audience. Much like the Mondo versus Karsten 100 meter exhibition matchup, there's something fun about putting on exhibition events that really show you how much raw speed these athletes have. And in this case, with the matchup against Speed, also just showcase the abilities of a champion in the sport to a much broader audience. We'll talk more about another exhibition matchup that I think Lyles should really consider doing later because, yes, there's one NFL star that has something to say about this performance that Lyles put up against the content creator. But first, we'll go more into the race between Lyles and Speed and how it unfolded. Now, I can't really believe Speed was literally walking under the track to take on Olympic champion in the 100 meters over the 100 meters. Well, at least originally.
So how many meters are we racing?
Come on, bro. You said you want to be the fastest man in the world. Fastest man in the world runs the 100 meters.
That's how it was going to go. Lyles, probably to the protest of his coach, conceded to cut the race in half and give the content creator Speed a better shot at this race.
You know what? I'll be nice. I told my coach I wasn't going to do this. We can run the 50 meters.
Yes!
Cutting down the race distance here really is huge. Lyles isn't really known for being the best out of the blocks. That being said, he's still put up near world best performances in the 60-meter indoors, and he's just an elite sprinter in general. So they're never going to have a slow first 50 compared to the average human being. That being said, Speed isn't quite average, and we'll get more into that later, but cutting down the race distance does give someone who has talent and accelerating a chance because there's people that naturally have great accelerating ability, but probably aren't able to generate enough raw power to keep up with an elite sprinter over the second half of a 100-meter race. For instance, I want to bring up when DK Metcalf took on an elite sprinting group at the USATF Golden Games in 2021. Now, there was a lot unknown about Metcalf. How fast would he go? And would he be even able to keep up? Well, Metcalf held his own, especially in the first half of the race. And it's only really in the second half the sprinters hit a gear that Metcalf couldn't quite keep up with, and he got dropped a bit.
This is him in lane 2. He thought here he might start to get left behind, but he keeps up to his work.
Still finishing in a very respectable time, though. Now, Speed is obviously built very different from Metcalf, as the NFL star almost dwarfed the sprinters with his size and stature, but what Speed does have in common is a football background, and he's likely got a lot of explosive fast twitch muscle fibers in him to help him get off the start line fast, which is obviously key in football. So by cutting the race in half, Speed really did have a shot if he had a great start and Noah Lyles had a poor one. Another thing to consider is how Lyles is in the offseason right now, and he's not going to be in peak form like when he ran 9.79 in Paris. Obviously, the 200 meters in Paris wasn't a great run for Lyles and not the way he envisioned going out, but since then, he's shut down his season and has had a while to recover. With indoors still a ways off, though, Lyles likely isn't super sharp, and we have no idea how much he's even been working on his start. I do love how we don't really have any real warm-up footage here of either of the competitors. Sprinters do usually have pretty structured warm-up routines to get them ready for maximum exertion, but here it kind of just looked like a lot of standing around and waiting for Speed, especially to get ready, as the guy never has even really worn track spikes before.
Okay, I ain't gonna lie. This is my first time wearing spikes. Let me see those spikes.
And he didn't want to use the blocks. With how familiar Lyles was with block starts, it probably was better not to use them, and the two did agree to just start at the 50 and run to the 100-meter mark for a net distance of a 50-meter race. And while breaking this race down, you can actually see that when these two line up, Noah does his signature super high jump. And Speed does try to replicate that. But what Speed does next is this backflip, which honestly is just super impressive to watch. Like, you totally have to have a lot of explosiveness to do something like that. I think this put the 100-meter Olympic champion on some alert. And as these two got set, you can see how Lyles has a more conventional sprinter starting pose here, while Speed, who's very inexperienced in something like this and is a similar stature to Noah, starts way lower. If you do look at this frame by frame, though, you'll see Speed does have the faster reaction time. Obviously, we don't know what it was given the lack of timing at this event, but it gives him a critical early jump on Lyles, who's playing catch up from the start here. And Speed explodes out of the blocks, already hitting some pretty long strides early in this race.
Hey, you can accelerate a little bit. I like that. Good
I
job.
told him to come to practice.
Yeah, I will.
Hey, top end speed's a little different than accelerating, though. You can.
However, you can see he kind of lacks the drive phase Noah has, who's disciplined and working lower to concentrate on accelerating to maximum velocity. The drive phase, at least to my understanding, is based on how fast you reach your top speed. Some athletes have longer drive phases than others, and once Noah completes the drive phase in this race, the rest is honestly over.
Hey, top end speed's a little different than accelerating, though. You can tell when you got up, you kind of started tipping forward, and that's where it goes out the back.
Even though this race against Speed was close, it's hard to win by a lot in the 50-meter race. Noah already knew that when he hit top speed, and I mean top speed for this race, which probably was even lower than his real top speed because he wasn't really trying or in peak form, that this race was over, as he looked over at Speed and knew he wasn't going to catch him. And the thing is, Noah didn't even stay disciplined in the final part of the race, flailing his arms out and almost dancing through the line in an end result that probably would have been a lot closer than it would have been if he had actually ran through the line. You gotta give Speed credit, though. With no sprinting training and not even really putting on spikes on his feet before, he kept it respectable against the Olympic champion. But really, once Lyles hit his stride here, there was really no shot. And I think that's important to consider for guys like Tyreek Hill, as the NFL star didn't seem very impressed by the result from Lyles, and Lyles wasn't afraid to let him know that he'd go down too. And that's probably especially true if they race the 100 meters. The thing is, like with the DK Metcalf situation, I'd say it actually helps with an NFL star. Doing this race with Speed was awesome, and a race against an NFL star would be one of the most watched events on the track and field calendar, I think. I mean, Lyles is known for his ability to stir up some stuff with some big sports superstars, and this could be another big event for him to prove that being a world and Olympic champion in track and field really does mean something. Anyhow, it's nice to see this money won by Lyles go to a good cause and to see Noah having some fun in his offseason. For Speed, it was a great effort and fun to see just how he stacked up against the Olympic champion. If you enjoy content on the sport like this, be sure to like and subscribe. See ya in the next one.